There are three methods that this video will focus on which can be used to study human infants and non-human thoughts in research, namely the observational, experimental, and comparative method. The observational method consists of recording observed behavior in either a naturalistic condition or an analog condition. Another method is the experimental method. This focuses on the manipulation of an independent variable in the hopes of demonstrating cause and effect between a variable and a behavior. The third and final focus of this video will be on the comparative method, which looks at the ancestral and evolutionary links between both infants and non-human animals to allow researchers to understand their thoughts. However, other methods do include psychophysiology, anecdotes, or parent report questionnaires in the human infant's case, but it will not be focused on. Firstly, observations focus on surveying human or non-human animal behavior. There are two types of observations. Naturalistic is where the recorded behavior occurs in a natural setting like a savanna. However, analog is where the observed behavior is studied in an artificial setting such as a lab. The observational method does not involve manipulation of variables, and it is the preferred method ethologists use to study animal behavior. Observations are a tool that can help us gain insight into naturally occurring behavior, which can then provide the basis for future research. With difficulty in studying human infants due to the strict ethical guidelines, the observational method is very valuable. An example of such observational research is that of Whitney and Green, who observed infants before, during, and after the onset of locomotion to see how it impacts their affect. The infants were observed in two naturalistic settings, when they engaged in free play and when they played with someone else, often the mother, which is known as dyadic play. The researchers found that there was no change in positive affect overall, but the negative affect expression decreased after learning to crawl during free and dyadic play. Therefore, observational research of infants is a useful tool as it allows us to study infant behavior ethically and authentically, despite limitations in assuming cause and effect. Another demonstration of how observations can be invaluable, particularly when studying non-human animals, is provided by the work at the Chimpanzee Wildlife Orphanage. Researchers observed 3 physically and socially separate semi-wild chimpanzee colonies and between colony differences in opening hard-shelled fruit without the use of tools. Researchers identified 8 total fruit opening behaviors, however each colony showed differences in the number and combinations of techniques used. Full biting and fruit cracking were completely absent in 2 of the 3 colonies. This suggests that non-human animals may share information within the community, implying that they engage in social learning and that they have cultural traditions with the help of observation. On the other hand, another method of understanding human infant and non-human thought is through experiments. This is done by manipulating variables to see their effect on behavior. For instance, in regard to human infants, it has been shown that 2-year-olds can differentiate between different types of visual stimuli. France created a method where infants were presented with 2 different pictures at the same time. When the infants looked at the stimuli for different lengths of time, researchers suggested that this means that the infants can differentiate between images